And then I've also got Paul. Paul's one of our presenters here at IPL, so he's popped in.
That is accurate. Thank you for the opportunity, Owen and Mish, allow me to come on your show.
It's good because I get a bit lonely in here sometimes. It's just a bit, when sitting in a boxed office, usually I've got heaps of people in here, but for some reason today they've all disappeared on me. I think it's school holidays as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of people disappeared. Yeah. Okay, so Owen, I don't know anything about you, and I like that idea. I like it when people come in my door and I have no preconception. I don't know nothing about you. You could be the nastiest person in the world, but you're going to tell me why you're not.
Oh, that's a really, really good thing. Thank you, Mish.
That was harsh.
I really appreciate the time coming in here. Going back a few years, I was a director of IPL Radio, which was Inspire Radio, and had great opportunities.
Brilliant.
Then,
did you present at all?
I did a couple of times, but then I didn't do very well.
You didn't like it very well?
No, I did, but I didn't do very well. The old cow thing, the old moo. But it was pretty good. But struggling back then was a time that I couldn't do computers. I had a lot of trouble with illiteracy and spelling and all that type of jazz, which really made it difficult. I could go out into the public and do what I have to do within the public.
I can see you as a public person.
Yeah.
Very, very.
He's a very social person.
Yeah, social.
And doing that, and I was sort of embarrassed a little bit.
Oh.
Because when I was a kid at school, I left school about 12 and a half years old. Dad pulled me up because I was in a slow learning class at school. They called it for dummies. So we got tormented and bullied and caned and all that type of jazz and belted up after school and stuff like that. So Dad decided to pull me out. The greatest thing he ever done. But then on the other hand, I wish I'd have stayed to learn a little bit more. But in those slow learning classes in those days, if you didn't have anything, you're better off in the workforce.
Catch-22.
Bring home money for mum, which things were really tight and things like that. So after all that, I'd with Inspire, it was very difficult for me to correspond on there and do what the other brilliant announcers were doing, like you're doing today, Mish and Paul, that some people are gifted to do that.
Yeah.
And some people are gifted to do other things.
Not that we were aware that we were gifted to do that. I don't think I'm gifted.
Absolutely not.
I think the gift is me being here.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. See the beauty of it all.
I'm not giving the gift. The gift is IPL.
It's all there, so straight away. But I was always amongst the down and outers.
Okay.
I was one of those guys that started drinking at around about 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty young.
And became an alcoholic by the time I was 17.
Wow.
And didn't know any better. For me to have addictions was very powerful because all my family drank. My brothers went away to war, Vietnam. They went away to...
That was their way of coping.
All that stuff. Yeah. And I was the child out of 7.
Wow.
That was in the middle.
Yep.
That didn't do anything.
Okay.
So I went to prison.
Okay.
Did the jailhouse rock.
Yep.
Picked up for all the types of things that the education today you don't get picked up on.
Okay.
Right. So that's how backward the brain was. It was like a really autistic way of me getting around in those days back then.
But you coped.
I coped.
You had your coping mechanisms.
Yeah,
you survived, I think.
Yeah, survived because my mother always said, "You'll get away with your good looks." Ta-da.
And your personality.
And that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So out of all of that, it was a hard road with the drugs, the alcohol, the incarceration, the drunken driving, all that stuff that accumulated in all that area wasn't a very, very good place to be.
Okay.
We all know that.
Yep.
And I know that now because I'm 29 years clean and sober.
That's amazing. Yes. Congratulations.
Just for today, I'm doing okay. And that's why I appreciate every minute, every time I come into somewhere, talking to somebody.
Every moment,
Yeah, and enjoy that atmosphere because I know what I'm doing now.
That's perfect, yeah.
And then going back in 2012 with the homelessness, was brought to a lot of people's attentions. Then
gave you a purpose though, didn't it?
It did, because it brought my past of when I've come out of incarceration, had nowhere to go.
Okay.
Couldn't go home because of embarrassment to your family.
Do they help? Does the prison system help you coming out?
Not in those days.
Not
no.
in those days, okay.
They just out you go, and we'll see you again.
They just release you.
See you again.
Yeah, we'll see you again. So we'll catch up with you later.
Yeah. Right.
But there was nothing there, so we had to do our own schools.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand the plight of homelessness now because it's horrible.
Mm.
So when I started this back in 2012 with a few other fellows, really nice people, homeless men as well, they all did that. And the Minister for the Salvation Army, Darryl Wilson, was a part of that when we went to Parliament House under the Senator Scott Loveland to try and make it easier to get things for our people.
Okay.
It didn't happen.
No.
A lot of things came, but it didn't happen. But the whole basic of that was bringing awareness.
Definitely.
And telling my story in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Definitely.
In Narcotics Anonymous set me free of all the demons.
Yeah.
Because I've become honest with myself.
That's brilliant.
And out of that, and that's where I am today. And through over that, I became the advocate for the homelessness.
Yep. What does that mean exactly?
I represent them in all weights.
In
courts, food, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever they needed is in the boot of my car, and open the boot up and just walk away, and they take what they want.
Okay.
Without any of the
questions.
No questions asked.
Yeah, whatever.
Bring back the dignity.
Yep.
And it's a bit like Councillor Ray Cotton said yesterday. I admire her for what she's doing. And what she has done for the beautiful people in our community of Rockingham.
Okay.
She stood up and be counted for what she thinks is right to do.
Yep.
In the end.
Isn't that what politics is all about?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it should be all about.
And you've got to do that. Share the love, share the dignity, and bring back the respect.
Yeah.
So out of all that stuff that I've done over many years, and a lot of things have happened in good ways, it's learned me how to get a few knocks without reacting to their reactions. I learnt a lot more about how to present yourself in public, how you do, when to keep the mouth shut, when to open it. And it's like
because you wouldn't have learned that, would you?
No, it was like an elevator. It was going up and down all the time. Which floor you want to get off?
Yeah.
Put me in the basement.
Wow.
Because people with mental health, like I suffer with every day,
same.
But I hide it.
We're very good at that.
I'm very good at hiding it. And it's taken me 27 years to get off from medication.
Oh, right. I'd like to hear about that.
That's antidepressants and all that.
I've been on mine for 26 years.
Good girl. There's no shame in that.
No, not at all.
There's no shame in that. It keeps us.
It helps me survive.
I think it's a bit more open nowadays. Like things are more aware. Things aren't put in the closet.
That's why.
When I first we did the mental health program, done it for free. Oh, I was so happy.
Yeah.
I've done that. Yeah.
Did we do it at the same time?
No.
Radio's doing now for the community is really, really great.
Yeah, fantastic.
Gives you the opportunities. And with Trish. So it's stuck.
We all call him Dad.
Yeah,
Dad, or do you call him Paul?
I call him Dad.
So it's stuck all the way through, right back 3 years ago when we all started up. But the generosity that comes with this is enormous.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's opened doors for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly right.
Also talking about it, not just you and everything else. And for quite some time, but there's been a failure. Just don't want to know, or
mental health.
As far as homelessness, as far as providing accommodation and things like that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I know a lot about and issues.
Absolutely.
So it's same with drug addiction, same with alcohol. It can be from.
Also, research who came in film. My research and everything like that is it doesn't create stability. Like being homeless, not having a safe and everything like that. It actually really impacts on.
It certainly does. I have a big world. As a young person, you get into a relationship, something goes snap in that relationship. That reverts you right back to that trauma that you've heard as a baby.
Yeah.
It brings you right back. And then from then it can have triggers. And those triggers just escalate more.
Okay.
In that, and it's a real shame that these things do happen, but they do happen right from birth. Because these are the things
You're
that
talking about mental health.
Mental health.
And a bit of preconditioning, would you say, is like you're being conditioned over a period of time, or it's just like
babies can hear.
I question that though, because yes, in a lot of cases that I understand that. In my case, there's been no abuse in my families whatsoever. I believe it's a chemical imbalance only.
That's right.
I do suffer the same way.
Yes.
But it's not through trauma.
Yeah.
Has that been explained to you by like your GP or anything like that? Or
what do you mean?
Like you're saying you've been on antidepressants. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
What has your GP in consultation with your GP? What is he actually
it first started.
Explained?
I don't want to talk about myself
Sorry.
particularly. No, that's okay. But it first started when I had my second child, and it was postnatal. It was classed as postnatal.
Okay.
I believe I was born in my DNA with depressive anxiety issues because it does flow into my family history. So maybe having the children encouraged it out a little bit more, but there's been no abuse as such. So I can't say. I usually use the words, it's not a situational depression.
Yes.
Whereas what you're saying is correct.
That's correct.
And that's probably more of what we hear.
Yeah.
A lot of the journeys that come into this, into IPL, I hear the journeys of the abuse, all that sort of thing. So as what you're saying is from a baby, it's interesting to say.
Yeah, because everybody has a different opinion.
Of course.
This is what makes the whole world fantastic,
yeah,
right?
It does, yeah.
If we had 10,000 people saying the same thing, oh my God, we'd be in a whole commune. Let's have this hippie commune. Let's have this cult thing. But over a period of time for me, I've had a duty of care for myself.
Okay.
We all talk about a duty of care for other people in the workforce and all that type of jazz. A duty of care for me.
Brilliant.
It's to ride a lot of the stuff that I didn't know nothing about.
Brilliant.
So it takes time. And I'm at a good age now where I know what I'm doing, and you cannot lie with the truth.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is where it comes out. Yeah. And by working amongst the community and being in good positions of trust, comfort, and most of all, love.
Okay.
Means that you're a single man. You don't go home to your wife, but you share your love to the community.
That's beautiful.
You can get more cuddles in one day than a married man would get in a week.
It's probably true too.
So
it's true
would you say you're searching for love in a different way?
Oh, no. I won't say that.
I don't mean it that way. I mean like...
No, brother, don't look at me like that.
I'm in trouble now.
No, don't go down
No,
there.
but it's...
Reward. I will say reward, not love.
It's very rewarding.
Very rewarding.
You get a different reward from doing that, interacting with the community.
Absolutely, because if you sit at home, and you procrastinate.
Oh, very much so.
So, oh my God, poor me.
Yep.
But while you're out and about, it costs you nothing. My mother always used to say to me, civility costs you nothing. Go and say hello to someone.
Wow.
And if you want to...
Do you do that, though?
Yes.
He does.
What's the response?
I've seen it prior to coming into...
Is it always good?
Always good. You get a couple of... Yeah, but that's part and parcel of it.
Do you pick who you say it to, though?
Well, I'm very careful.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I'm very careful about who I associate with.
Okay.
Because loose lips sink ships.
Yep.
And that can lead you in all types of areas where you don't want to go. So, but out of the journey that I have from 12 and a half years of age, till I'm 69 in October, a couple of months away. I've learnt so much in that capacity of time, and now I've gone back to school.
That's fantastic.
After 56 years,
yeah, that's amazing.
I've gone back to learn how to. I think I'm going to be okay with it because it's community aged care, Cert 3 in community aged care.
Beautiful.
It's looking after my vulnerable old people.
I love it.
Wow.
You know, I'm the next oldies, so I don't want somebody blowing my nose or something like that.
Do it right.
Just do it right from a distance, 1.5, please. You know, but it's giving back to the community.
That's fantastic.
Even though I stepped down from my position of homelessness advocacy, I still have great compassion. I still have a lot of stuff to give, and I think, well, there may be people out there that have been homeless, middle-aged women, middle-aged men that have gone to nursing homes.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Right.
Right. So from my background and my knowledge, if I work in that area, well, then I can understand that person.
Oh,
yeah,
brilliant.
absolutely.
That's
right? I can understand that person's predicament.
Yep.
That's why I did my Cert 3 in individual support, disability, and youth care as well, because I wanted to understand. I want to understand and get into that mindset, but not just learn about what actually happens and what the rules and the regulations and what to do in certain instances and stuff like that, but just so I can have a conversation with people, and then I know exactly what I'm talking about.
That is really more lovable. Is to understand, is to be understood by people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and bring back that beautifulness in there, because we can say it's a cruel world, we can say it's a dysfunctional world, we can say it's all types of this world, but if we bring in that love,
it's still a beautiful world.
It's still a beautiful world. Yeah. You know, we're on the good planet.
Do you believe you've gone through all you've gone through to be the person you are today?
Absolutely.
Do you believe it was necessary to go through what you went through?
I think so.
Today?
I think so. Okay. I've had to have the hard knocks. I've had to have the crucifixion. I've had to have the judgment. I've had to have all that, and to handle that, and to sit here today saying that I can handle that stuff. You know.
You choose.
I choose.
That's my favourite word at the moment is choose or choice.
Yeah, it's a choice.
Is
it a choice?
It's a good thing because you know, it shaped you into the person, even though you went through all those difficult situations and everything like that. It made you who you are, made you resilient.
Yes.
I know you're a person of integrity.
Thank you.
Through our discussions.
Yeah.
He has got an amazing heart.
I respect the fact that you could be honest and you're courageous enough to be able to tell your story, because particularly in men, they find it very hard to open up about their emotion or their life, their struggles, I should say.
Yes.
Very
so
difficult.
I think I respect the fact that you can do that, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing that with me today. And you've gone through I've lived a cotton wool existence. My life has been perfect.
Yes.
You've been looked after very well.
I've been looked after very, very well. So I can't blame anything on anybody, you know. So, but to hear people's stories that come in like yourself, who have struggled, they're like, I take that. I feel quite emotional because I don't know how I would have coped in those situations. It's very.
It's been difficult.
You do survive it, though.
You do survive it. You come out, but as long as you do the right thing. If you have good intentions, and sometimes you got to hit a brick wall.
Can I ask you one question, if it's okay? If you're not comfortable to say it, then please let me know. What hit you for that change? Why did you change that moment? No more drink, no more alcohol, on the right path. What was it?
Thank you for asking that. Well, nearly 30 years ago, I was a bit of a naughty boy.
Bit of a chat.
I was one to have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And my last marriage, I've been married a few times.
A few. Okay.
And my last marriage wasn't very sweet, and I had 2 little children.
Okay.
To that marriage.
Yeah.
I'd buried 3 children of mine.
Oh no.
Prior to that.
Gosh.
And I was looking after a boy that was not my child, but I had him as my own son in that marriage. Now, I was taken out of the family home and told to just go away.
Wow.
So then something snapped, and I was outside the Department of Community Services out here with the old bank, the Westpac Bank, used to be here. And there was an old war veteran came up to me and he was in the war with my father.
Wow.
And I had long hair, big beard, and a cocky feather sticking through. I thought I was Jesus Christ Superstar. Oh, boom, boom, bang, you know. He knew who I was.
Wow.
He said something to me that my father couldn't say.
And that was?
There's a couple of little SHI words in that.
Okay.
So he said something to me that my father couldn't say, and it hit the ball. And in that meantime, while he was speaking to me, Mr. West was his name, a lovely man. I seen my 2 children getting taken away by DCP upstairs. Oh, my God, what's going to happen here? My children are gone. I didn't worry about the marriage.
No, it was the kids.
It's gone. It was the children.
Yeah.
And I'd heard so much, and I didn't want my children to go through that.
Yeah.
And the lady from DCP came down. She was only about 4'2". And she virtually stuck her finger up my nose and she said, if you ever want to see your children again, clean up your act.
Wow.
I said, well, what do I got to do?
So that was the day.
That was the day that the commitment was made.
Wake up call.
Yep. So I said, what have I got to do? I won't mention her name for her privacy.
Yeah.
Go to AA, Alcoholics Anonymous.
How hard was that for you?
Well, I give in. I gave in because of one of my children.
Okay.
So I gave in. Even though I was in AA prior to that when I was about 21.
It wasn't. You didn't have the commitment.
It didn't have to. So I went to my first meeting in Kwinana. I cried like a big baby.
Oh.
Yeah, because you had all this
emotion.
Stuff.
You
had the stuff you needed to unload.
It was building up. And I was given the gift of desperation. It was amazing.
Okay.
You know? So with standing up in amongst people that I never even drunk with, never even associated, never even met before in my entire life.
You opened up.
Yep, tell a little bit about my story.
Wow.
And in those days, you had your cup of coffee down beside you, fag out of your mouth, and the smoke was full of in the room, and you think you were sitting in a teepee or something, you know. Ooh, here we go.
Having a ceremony.
You know? Yeah, and then I kept going, and then within 3 weeks, I had a phone call from DCP saying, Mr. Farmer, you can come and pick up your children.
No.
Back in those days, men never got their children.
Wow.
Right? The woman always got it no matter what happened and things like that.
Automatically goes to the...
So I was a part of domestic violence on me, you know?
Okay.
So it's a little bit thing. I wasn't the happiest guy in the world either. Hard person to live with. But after that, I was homeless then. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do.
So they allowed the kids to come to you even though you're homeless?
They gave me a phone call and said, oh, come and pick up your kids. And I was sleeping in my old car then. So I rang my father up. Said, Dad, I can pick my children up this afternoon. Can you help me? So he knew people in Kwinana, in the Homes West place.
Yes.
He went down and paid off my over $1,000 debt.
Wow.
That I had.
So,
By 4 o'clock that afternoon, Paul, by 4 o'clock that afternoon, I had a unit in Aurelia.
Wow. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Okay, so everybody rallied around and got everything for me upstairs. And my little daughter, Chantal, she was a little princess and she was in the ed support. And it affected those children so much.
Of course,
But over that, there was 18 months, the Department of Community Services told me, we're going to come and see you every Wednesday.
Wow.
And that gave me enough time to go through the family courts and all that type of jazz.
He gave you that support network.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as well as your father as well.
Like
my
dad.
For your dad's help.
Yeah,
and
he put his money on the line and got me out of that predicament.
Beautiful.
Now, over that 18 months, I missed 2 appointments with DCP on a Wednesday. Well, gee, they gave me a bollocking.
I bet.
It was well in their rights. And it also made me punctual.
Good.
Going to AA, turning up to the meetings, going to narcotics.
So you learnt something from that.
I learned something from that. More than one thing.
Yeah.
And out of the whole that, and then I had a phone call from the district court when I was up there saying, oh, you don't have to appear today, Mr. Farmer. You've won custody of your children.
Wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I've won full custody.
Wow.
But the day that was out at the DCP was the day that I made that decision. Help me, Rhonda.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And out of that, I haven't touched anything since.
That's beautiful.
You know, and today I can speak very proudly about that.
Absolutely.
And mix in with people.
Yeah.
All walks of life that I understand where you've been.
That's fantastic.
I know exactly how you feel because I've been there.
Good for you.
you know, and out of that,
Speaking
and
from experience.
Yeah, and I've helped a lot of people on my way.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that I could have done better.
Oh, aren't we all?
You know,
Yeah,
but at the spur of the
right.
moment, when you've got somebody in your arms.
Yeah. What's your relationship with your kids now, with your kids?
Pretty good.
That's good.
Pretty good. Yeah, my daughter's still going through domestic violence.
Oh, gosh.
It's a horrible situation that she's in. No fault of hers, but she's copping it from the domestic violence for children. I still look after her.
Yeah.
In money wise, even though I haven't got any, I do what I can.
Yep.
I do what I can to look after her children,
Sure.
which come to my house.
Her know that her dad's there for her.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
so my past is no fault of my parents.
Okay.
No fault of them at all.
Totally yours.
It's mine.
Yep.
I was responsible the day I picked up my first drink.
Yeah, there you go. Good for you for saying that.
I have to, because it's honest.
Yep.
And I haven't come this far to be dishonest.
No, what's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
You know, you go into AA and it's an honest program.
Yeah.
You can't go in there full of it because you get caught.
Yeah.
And then you get exposed.
Only be fooling yourself, wouldn't you? Really, you're only lying to yourself.
No one else matters apart from you.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I'll take on the role for homelessness. That wasn't easy.
Something that was familiar to you. It was
at the back of my mind. Back of my mind.
Yeah.
There's something I could do better. I could help.
Yeah.
And through all that consultation with everybody, whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent, I managed to go through it.
That's awesome.
You know, and 2019, I got the Citizen of the Year award here.
Did you really? Yeah. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
And that's huge.
Yeah.
For me.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It was huge.
Huge. Yeah.
And all the other stuff that come along with it.
Yeah.
You know, so but out of what I've been taught, I put it into practical. Sometimes I didn't even trust myself. You know, I'm going, oh my God.
Can't do this.
But but now I can stand up anywhere and look people straight in the eye and say, this is how it is.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not, but I don't have to squint and cower down and be a yes person.
No.
And through that,
loud and proud.
Through that, I've met some beautiful people in my life.
Yeah.
Now this is where we want to go now.
Yes.
So where are you? Like we've gone through the past.
Yes.
Where are you? What's
happening today?
What's today? What do you do today?
Well, today I'm back at school.
I've got to tell you, that's fantastic because I went back to school after 40 years.
Well, there you go. I'm 56 years.
Yeah, 40 years. I went back to school 2 years ago. And it was the hardest thing because I suffer from anxiety. It was so difficult. But once I walked in that door, I felt fantastic.
Yes.
It's very empowering.
Yes.
That's what I found when I started to do my course and talking to other people. Mutual friend we know.
Yes.
Yeah, I spoke to her and she was offering encouragement and everything like that. And she's saying, you don't realise what, just by getting some education, it actually does, it lifts your spirits.
Yes.
It builds you up.
Absolutely.
It's very empowering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, with the course that I'm doing now, it's like for aged care, community aged care.
Where are you doing that?
At Insight Training on Beetle Street in Rockingham here.
Beautiful.
Now, we all had to stand up when we first walked in the door, sat down, grabbed the computer, and I'm like, oh no, how do you turn it on? Where's the plug? And there was no plug. I said, how do you turn it on? So anyway, we had to stand up like I did in first time in AA. You had to stand up and tell you a bit about your story. And I'm the oldest old fella in the class. There's all the young ones there. And I spoke a little bit about my story. Literate, can't read, can't write, all that type of stuff. And the enormous compassion that the people have given me to help me through. And I'm 6 weeks through that.
That's fantastic.
And there's a beautiful person that I'm going to mention now that I'm very fond of, and her name is Hayley Edwards.
Yes, we all should know who Hayley Edwards is.
The Deputy Mayor of Rockingham.
Yes.
Which has sponsored me.
Oh, did she? That's fantastic.
She's one of those kind-hearted souls that my mother had sent to me after my mother passed.
Oh, right.
My mum's
Tell me about her, because we've got a by-election coming up.
Yes.
And she's obviously running for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about her.
Well, I met Hayley about 4 years ago at an Anzac service.
Okay.
I had no idea who this person was. Standing up there, and I heard this beautiful laugh, and it just reminded me of my mother. My mother always laughed and had fun. So I turned around and said, oh, yeah, okay. So I was brave enough again I went over and introduced myself to her because I lay every year, Vietnam veterans and all that.
Beautiful.
Anzac Day, I lay a wreath for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, homeless veterans.
Beautiful.
So I got to know Hayley. So we just talked, and she was a counsellor then. And she was talking every year. We'd lay a wreath, and she'd understand what's going on and things like that. And she'd done 8 years in the the Air Force.
I read that. Yeah, I read that.
You know, and she was a medic in the Bali bombing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
She got a commendation.
She got a commendation as well. So she's out there.
Okay.
And she's the type of person to me that puts her heart and soul in whatever she does. Now, going back to those 4 years, she had helped me out in a very, very strange and unique way. Done all the paperwork for me. She'd done all that stuff. And we got through it. Then I was talking about homelessness, and she knew what I did and things like that. And she said, what can we do for homelessness? What do you mean? So then her and her business herself said, let's do a CEO sleep out and raise monies for a certain charity.
Bring about awareness.
Yes. Yeah. So we got our heads together. We ended up raising nearly $15,000.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Kicked off.
Yep.
Then as we got to know each other through Anzac, through all that type of jazz, what else can we do? And in that meantime, I was going through building a statue for the homeless veterans.
Okay.
That's in our memorial here in Rockingham.
Okay.
Excuse me. And for that, Hayley had written a homeless veteran poem.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because of her own experiences.
Oh, really?
That was absolutely brilliant.
Oh.
And she put her money where her mouth was.
Yep.
And sponsored me again.
Oh, fantastic.
Because she could see what type of person you are.
Thank you.
See
Yes,
that
thank
you are a person of integrity.
Thank you there, Paul. And then we decided, shall we have another homeless sleep out? It was the first again. Everything we'd done was the first.
It never been done before.
Never been done before. So she put a business up again. We raised a little bit on $30,000 and we gave it to the Salvation Army here in Rockingham under the ministerial part of Captain Darryl Wilson.
Yeah.
And that was to be given solely to the homelessness.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And the homeless veterans that come in. That money was to be sacred. So out of that, we had lift off again. You know, so Hayley as a person is very, very kind. You know,
and very, very compassionate as well. I've had a couple of conversations with her. I sense a very genuineness about her.
Very, very much so. So we've become, people may say friends, but you become good with each other.
Yeah.
You don't lie in each other's pocket.
Yeah.
You're good to each other. When something goes wrong, let's get together and fix it.
Yeah.
And fix it up.
Yeah.
So out of all of that, from the two CEO sleepouts, the homeless veteran, which was enormous here, was huge. Nobody's ever made a homeless veteran in the world.
No.
So we got the pride of veterans all over the world. So that was really good.
You're doing a lot of firsts. You're creating not only creating a friendship, a bond, but also achieving things as well.
Absolutely.
As firsts.
You can do that with a platonic relationship.
Yeah.
You know, you have people come in here that work in IPR radio. It's platonicness.
Sure.
It's called respect.
Respect.
Give that person dignity so that you work as a group to solve the common problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
You know, and this is where it has. And that's how it's come. And, of course, working on the streets through COVID was very, very difficult for me as well.
Okay.
We'd lost a lot of men.
Wow.
Not necessarily through COVID, but living rough.
Suicide? Was there suicide?
There was a lot of stuff involved.
Yeah.
I couldn't pay respects to their funeral because we weren't allowed to go because there was a restriction on funerals. So those poor brothers and a couple of sisters
on their own.
Yeah. So Hayley used to do walks in the morning. 5:30, she'd get up, meet me down at the Kookaburra Cafe that used to be there.
Yeah.
Where all the guys used to have a hot bacon egg breakfast, a hot cup of coffee, and welcomed in through the doors from Gail and her daughter through the Kookaburra Cap. So Haley used to come down there and walk around the streets with me and see what was out on the streets. She didn't have to.
No, but she's on the street.
She's
on the floor.
She was on the front line. And she's seen what was going on.
Only way you're going to know what's going on.
Only way you're going to know. And as a counsellor, she wanted to know more.
Great.
Yeah, she wanted to see it for herself.
Hands-on. So out of that, miracles started to happen. The journey had started better. Not that we could fix the problem. There was multiple times prior to that where people in high places had the authority to do something about it. But it just didn't happen because there was a lot of crosses, not ticks. Right? So out of that, but Haley was there for me, and I caught COVID through walking the streets. My brothers and sisters never got it. I did. So I was home paralysed. Haley rang me up, said, "What do you want?" Nothing. Within 3 hours, there was $400 worth of food at my front doorstep.
Oh, gosh, that's beautiful.
Right?
Wow.
So that was great. I didn't have to go out and get in because she had already done. She didn't have to do that.
No, not at
but
all.
she done it. This is the type of person Haley Woods is. She's a person's person.
That's it.
Yeah, she's very compassionate.
Very
compassionate.
Understanding. Yep. And she's got a brain. She knows what she's doing. And if she's got a foot in there, she'll do 100%.
She'll do everything in her power.
Everything in her power. And that's why I believe that she would be great leadership for Rockingham.
Yep.
She's been on the ground. She's also been in the air because she's in the RAF, and she's come down in the parachute. So she knows what Rockingham needs.
She's immersed herself. That's pretty much what I've seen and what I've heard about her.
Yep.
She has very much immersed herself.
Absolutely.
And she's aligned herself with yourself. So then she gets an understanding of a little bit more about what homeless people go through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the only way you're going to know. There's no point sitting behind a desk and saying, what needs to be done.
No,
You've got to get out there and
you can be a
see what
keyboard
needs to
warrior
be
and do everything on a keyboard, but you isolate it.
No, you're not going to learn. You're not going to learn the truth.
She needed to see it for herself.
You need to know the truth.
Yeah, and this is why I put my hand up to anybody who reaches out to the people that are doing it tough.
Yeah.
We have 157 on the books of record of homelessness here in Rockingham.
157.
Yes. And there is more, but they're on the by name list. Okay. Yeah. So, but out of
I see it increasing.
It's huge. We can't blame a lot of things.
It's very easy to blame COVID because everything's blamed on COVID.
And they can blame the real estates too. But I laid awake about 2 o'clock this morning thinking about me coming on here today and what am I going to say positive and what am I going to say that's not going to be positive.
Okay.
Right? So, but there is a thing that's going on at the moment where homelessness is acceptable. That shouldn't be acceptable. Should never be acceptable in Australia because there's used to be 3 types of people: rich, middle class, and poor. Now there's only rich and poor.
Is that right? Wow.
And the ones that are at the bottom are the poor.
I don't understand. I'm not very intelligent, but I don't understand from Australia's point of view because we get the dole, etc.
Yes.
How can people be so desperately on the streets?
Because the cost of living is so high.
Is it because it's so high?
The renting is so high.
Going up and up and up and up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about Ray. When she was here on her meeting talking about the compassion that we need to do for the people in this community. We're not worried about the other communities.
No.
In between Mandurah and Fremantle, we have the highest population of homelessness now.
Is that right?
When I retired last year in October, there was about 47 people that were living rough.
Wow.
And now it's tripled.
It's not acceptable.
It's a crisis. It's tripled. It's not acceptable.
It's never acceptable.
So there's a lot of things being evolved. There's a lot of things that have been said.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have been done, but we can do better.
Yeah.
We can do better in regards of the strain that is putting on everyone. Our mothers are looking after their daughters and their children.
That's right.
They're lucky to have it paid forward that their house is owned.
Yep.
That they can have room for these children that bring home their children. So that by working together as a complete unit, with all these people that are running for high places in town, let's all get together.
Yeah.
Should have been done this.
Let's fix this. Yeah.
Should have been done years ago. We had people that put their hands up for sleep buses for our people.
Okay.
That got shut down.
Are you joking?
We had Hayley Edwards put up a motion in council to get hot water showers for the vulnerable people sleeping rough on the streets. Because there's women out there that have their times a month and they have their children and all that.
Yeah.
That got refused.
How simple was that? That's
How
just
simple.
a simple thing. That
Yep. And then we had Hayley Edwards put up a proposal for lockers.
Oh, yeah. That was
which we were going to have at Inspire Radio 3 years ago.
Are you joking?
Tristan was going to put up the room to put in. That got refused.
No. And again, it's
Did they give you a reason why?
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. But
always a reason.
There's always a reason. So I won't do that because it's not the right or wrong. But these are the things that have already been done and proposed. But Hayley did do a fantastic thing about 3 months ago. In the council, she had the sergeants of police in Mandurah, Rockingham, and a few other people around the round table, and they got a motion passed through to hit the state government for more funding for homelessness here in Rockingham.
Yeah.
So she got that passed through.
Oh, she got that passed.
She got that passed through. So that's another thing for Hayley to do in her greatness here in Rockingham. That's why.
So what's her vision now?
Well, her vision is to get people to swing around, because while we're having what we have now, we're not getting anything into Rockingham at all. You know,
really,
there's a lot of suggestions, but I believe Hayley become an independent, then it becomes a swinging area where, like Mandurah, like Fremantle, you have a look at Mandurah on the foreshore, it's beautiful and stuff like that. At least our people are doing it tough, considering something nice. You know, they can do the same here while the funding's coming through. I don't know all about that because I'm not brainy enough in that area. But what I do know is that if somebody looks after me, I will certainly look after them.
Of course. And that's as simple as that.